So today I am joined by Coby Hilton. Really excited to get a chance to speak with you today. You've been through a really, long journey over the past couple of years. Most recently, you just got second place at USA Indoors in the 60 meters, booked your ticket to the World Indoor Championships to, represent Team USA for the first time. It's a really big deal, which is, really exciting. But yeah, Coby, how you feeling right now?
Feeling very happy. Very excited about it. We had essentially just planned the whole indoor to do well at USA, so I'm glad we trusted the process and was there and were able to get the job done. So yeah,
Nice.
all good vibes here for sure.
Nice. I wonder what the past kind of week and a half has been like for you coming off, USA indoors.
Um, Honestly, it's just been the same as going into anything else. I just been straight back into training essentially. Um, I'm out here in Lincoln, Nebraska, so we have some good indoor tracks and good facilities to work out at. So, yeah, basically got off the plane, slept through the night, and then the next day just got back to work. So, yeah.
And we'll definitely dive a little bit more into, the experience at USA indoors, but I am curious, like what were the initial emotions when you realized like, wow, like I'm getting a chance to represent Team USA?
I was, well, at first I was kind of in shock because we just never really seem to have the best luck at these championship meets. So even during the race, I didn't even think I had second because the peripheral, you're just so in the moment and everything happens so fast. And then I look up and I see that my name's in second. I look over to my coach and he's freaking out, and I was, it's just like a gratifying feeling. It's just like almost like a weight off the shoulders, just like a finally, like we were able to get it done when it mattered, and now we can just, enjoy representing Team USA and all that comes with that. So yeah.
Yeah. And it's true because even I know you ran 6:58 to get second place, and it was I think third place was also the same time. I think fourth place was like 6:59. Like it was almost like a blanket finish for all those places.
Oh, tight race. Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah. Nice. So of course, we'll circle back a little bit on USA's, but I am curious about the journey because it's been a long time coming in terms of you getting to this moment.
Mhm.
Going all the way back to, South Dakota State University, where you weren't really highly recruited coming out of high school going into college, right?
No, I didn't have a single offer. I actually was going in for registration, like doing my classes and stuff. And as I'm signing up for classes, I get a text from the assistant head coach, Eric Hannenberger, and he's like, "Hey, I see you're on campus. If you want to walk on to this team, like, just fill out some paperwork and we can get it done." So I was like, "Okay, yeah, might as well. Like, it'd be fun to do." Not thinking like what would come out of it, but yeah, I had no plans going into it. Yeah, it kind of just worked itself out, and what happened happened.
Yeah. So you had literally no plans of actually running track for in college.
Mm-mm, mm-mm. No, I was just ready to have the college experience. Like, yeah.
Wow. So that's really interesting because even looking back at some of your times early on, right, you were running like 10.8s and 10.7s, in the first couple of years, and then all the way down, later on, you start to hit those 10.3s and 10.4s, and eventually, I think you have like a windy 10.2 or something like that, while you were in
Very,
college.
very windy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, as the years go on, coming from the point where you weren't even thinking about running track in college to then becoming kind of the guy to beat in the Summit League, right? Where what was that progression like for you?
I think, and that's almost tough to answer myself because I really don't know. Like all I did was just put in the work. And I remember there I just had a breakthrough. I think it was my sophomore season where I ran, I think it was our conference meet, and I ran like a 10 5 maybe, and broke the school record, and it was out of the blue. I had no idea that it was even coming. I was like, okay, like I'll start taking this, a little bit more seriously and going through it. But yeah, it was just learning how to just mature in the sport and grow and learn how to just develop really. And I had really patient coaches, lifting coaches, and they knew that I was going to be a work in progress because I mean, I didn't really do anything in high school other than I think I ran at state like my senior year, and that's it. So, I mean, they didn't really have any like crazy plans for me. It's not like they knew what I was going to turn into, but they took their time, and they let me have a say, and I let them kind of just guided me through it.
Were there moments as you kept progressing, you run 10.5, you break the school record, you see the success. Were there moments even as you had the success where you're like, wow, this is really happening. Like I'm actually, running these fast times. Like I'm actually becoming a person, at my school, in my conference and all that.
Yeah, I think the first meet where I won like the 1, 2, and 4x1, that was when I really thought like, okay, like this is where I need to put all my focus and like really dedicate myself to this because yeah, now I'm the guy to beat and I don't really like losing. So I'm not just gonna have one year where I do really well and then just get stomped on the rest of the years. Like, nah. So that just made my work ethic even like just increased it even more. Um, and then yeah, just going from year to year, I just wanted to get better and better, which luckily I was able to do.
Did you have any goals through college? Did you have thoughts of like, okay, maybe this can go on post college? Like, did you start to have that idea?
Honestly, no, I was just going through the phases. And it's kind of funny because it was my last year and it was the region like it was the NCAA regionals and I think I was just doing the 200. And I get a text from a guy that I ran with my freshman year. We were on the same 4x1 team. And he's like, "Hey, I know you're getting ready for this race, but if you would like to, you can come stay with me once you're done with college, and then we can try to progress your career even more. Like I can see you need so much like technical work, and we can get you so much faster." And yeah, so that was honestly my first thought of I'm gonna do this post collegiate. Otherwise, I was just looking at jobs. I was gonna go work at a bank or something, honestly. So yeah, now he's still my coach to this day, Caleb Cowling. Shout it out to him. So yeah.
Nice. So as you like when you get that text, that mindset of like, okay, maybe this can be a thing that starts to come into fruition. Did you think maybe logistically on how it may happen? Like, I know you ended up moving to Colorado to like live in this basement for a bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. How'd you like, I don't know, how'd you kind of think through things as you look forward there?
Going into it, I'm very much just like if I don't do it, I don't want to look 20 years ahead in life and be like, man, if I would have done that, who knows what would have happened. So I remember I just called both my parents and I was like, hey, this was the opportunity given to me. Um, I'd be punching myself if I didn't do this. So I'm just gonna go do it regardless, because I already have my degree. Worst comes to worst, I just move back, and just do what I was originally gonna do. So it was mostly just like you know what, I'm just gonna do it, see what happens, and just yeah, to see what comes out of it. And when I first moved out there, it was just all training. We didn't race. It was just technical training and just getting after it. And we had our days, and I had my days where I was just like, oh man, like what am I really doing out here? Like, do I really think I can do this? And Caleb was very persistent. He's like, this is like you're gonna do this, man. Like you just have to listen, you have to trust the process. And that's really been our big motto is just trust what we're doing, trust the training. Yeah.
Nice. I wonder because you said, you were telling your parents, were there any hesitations of like, hold on, you could be a banker, like you got your degree, like you
Yeah.
can really make some money, or were they like truly supportive?
My dad was very just like, oh, like we want you to stay kind of close. Like, why are you moving out to Colorado with this dude we don't even know? My mom, she's always just been like, go do it, go do it. But my dad was very like, I needed to kind of talk it in, like talk him into it a little bit. Just be like, look, like I had said before, I don't want to think about this. And like, I don't want this to be one of my regrets in the future is I had a chance to do this and I just didn't think I had it in me or I didn't, I just couldn't do it. So. Yeah, but everyone else, I had a lot of support going into it, and even saying that with my dad, he wasn't like, "No, son, like don't do that." He was just like, "Think about it. Just think about what you're doing, and if you think it's gonna work, then you can do it. But I want you to like sit and think about it because I'm very impulsive. So me, I was just like, "All right, Caleb, let's do it. I'll move out in 2 weeks. Like, let's do it." But yeah,
Nice. All right. I'm glad that at least there was some leeway with your dad to be like, all right,
yeah, he's a funny guy.
Nice.
Oh,
Nice. And kind of like you mentioned where, you're moving out, you're training with your, new coach, your coach now still Caleb, where I wonder if you can talk through maybe how tough things are specifically on the sprinter realm where, you know, you may have a lot of people who could get a job and be working their day-to-day job, but then they can be like, what we would call like, I guess, a hobby jogger where they can go out and run like 5Ks and marathons and, do really well. But like, that's not easy for a sprinter to be able to like be training on your own in a sense and like go out there and like really do the work that's necessary to become an elite level sprinter. Like, how was that for you?
It was tough because you're not really going to find a boss who's going to be like, yeah, just come in whenever and work when you want, and we'll work around your training. So the first, I think, year, it was solely training. They were really like lenient on like the rent and stuff while I just got myself together. He's got two kids, so I was kind of like, I was just part-time nanny as well. So and then I did find a job. I worked at the Olympic Training Center out in Colorado Springs, and my boss was actually extremely lenient. I remember in the interview, he was like, track comes first. So if you ever have to leave for training, if you have any meets, if you're traveling, just tell me and like we'll work it out. So luckily, and I did that for about 2 years, where it was just work from it's 9 to 3, and then get to the track, and then get to the weight room and do that stuff. And then my boss had moved on to a different job. So then I decided to just continue and just dedicate myself back to training. But it is very hard. Like you really have to dedicate, because how I see it is well, I worked all day, I'm too tired to train. Well, was Christian Coleman too tired to train today? It's like, no, like he was working today. And I don't want anyone to get that head start on me. So you have to be very dedicated, very disciplined, and you have to have that work ethic. Like, hey, even though I was standing all day and folding t-shirts, like I need to get out in the track and bust a workout in. So
Yeah. Were there any moments that you during that time period where you felt like, nah, like I'm good. I can't do this. Like I just want to quit.
I never had like an official like I'm done with this. There was a few track meets that I had performed very poorly at, and I was like, what am I doing? Like, is this really, do I really want to is this what I want? Because I wasn't getting the results that I had wanted. We hadn't hit that breakthrough yet. So I would just sit, like after the race, you just sit there for a bit and you really just contemplate, you're texting parents like, what do you think I should do? I've been out here for 2 years and I haven't really done what I've wanted to do. Like, how long is this really going to take? And luckily, because they're so supportive, they're just like, you just got to keep doing it. Like, you had one bad race. So you really have to have a good supportive like circle and a good backbone and, to keep pushing forward. But I would say only like one or two times I was really "Hmm, like, what am I doing?"
I mean, that's dope because that takes a lot of motivation and like, drive because it can be very easy to be like, like you said, your day-to-day life may not be as easy as someone who's, has a pro contract or someone who has, already has medals and stuff. But for you to,
Yeah.
remain resilient, like that speaks a lot. That says a lot.
Yeah, because I would see, yeah, like just like you had said, like I saw my competitors like winning, but then I also saw my friends who like work full-time jobs, and I'm just like, everyone's got money except me. Like, like what can I do to like change that? Because all I'm hearing on my friend's side is, oh, I got a promotion today, or I got a new job, and then on the other side, it's like, oh, well, he just got a medal, or he's a world champ now, and I'm just like stuck in the middle. Oh man, yeah, you have to be very mentally strong to keep going with that.
And maybe, I don't know if you can get maybe even a little more granular in terms of like that time period from like 2021 to 2023 or so. Like, what would a typical day look like for you?
Yeah, normal, just like 9 to 5 work. Like you wake up and then drive to work, work all day, and just kind of like during that day, kind of just see what I'm gonna train for, and then drive home, eat, train about, I don't know, hour and a half on the track. Hopefully it's a nice day outside because we don't really have many indoor facilities. So either I'm wearing a coat and gloves or I'll be able to be comfortable. And then back then I just got in with the gym like last year. So before that, go to Planet Fitness and get some lifting in, and then eat some dinner, and then hang out with his kids for a bit, and then it's bedtime. And then it's that every single day. And throughout the years I finally, found like sponsors and people that would help me out. So now I have a gym, Total Body Works, that I have pretty much 24-hour access. I have massage, I have sauna, cold bath, like all of these different types of therapies. So it's a lot easier because even if it's 9 p.m., I can go in there, get a lift, get my treatment and everything. But yeah, those first couple years were extremely hard.
That's crazy. So as you, because like during those times, you went to USA indoors, you had gone to, like I know USA outdoors, talking like 2022, 23,
hmm
but like you were training, 1.5 hour a day, and then also going to Planet Fitness,
hmm
like a regular kind of like you were
Yeah.
lifting with some regular people in a sense.
Yeah. Yeah. It wasn't very glamorous. I can tell you that. It wasn't very glamorous.
Oh man, that's crazy. But again, speaking to like the grit, the determination, like you really put in that work, which is amazing. And
hmm
before, because obviously you want to talk about Tracksmith a bit, but before that, 2023, that's when you ran the 6.51 indoors, I think in about January, right? In a
Yep.
60. I wonder how what that race was for you, like in terms of the feeling when you saw, the time come up, like the post, like what was that race like for you?
That was, I feel like that's the race that like put me more so like on the map than I was
Mhm.
before. I definitely wasn't as mature as I was now back then. So I was running around screaming like I just won gold. But yeah, it was very exciting for us. And then I remember I get done with the meet and I'm going home and I'm just getting my phone is blowing up. I think I got like 1,200 followers in like 12 hours and people like all over the world messaging me and telling me good job. And then I think 2 weeks later I was in Milrose racing against like, you know, um, but yeah, and I actually made some really good connections because of that race. Um, and we'll probably touch base on this a little later, but like Kevin Cogley from Ireland. So when I go overseas to race out there, because he messaged me on that day, I'm able to stay in Ireland while I'm doing those meets. So I'm able to get there whenever I want to, and like, so I don't have to go out of pocket for hotels and stuff. But yeah, no, it was definitely the race that like changed the direct or the like the wave of how we were going. Like it definitely turned it into just we won another race with 665, like cool. And then it was like finally like we got a race in that we can use to get into better meets. Like just one for the resume almost.
Did you ever imagine that you'd see a time like 651, on the clock? Again, going back to where, you started in college, you were, I don't know, you were running like 6.9s or 6.8s. Like, did you or
Yeah.
imagine?
Uh not then, no. Like it was very surprising. I really wanted a 6.5, but I was thinking it was gonna be like a 58 or a 59. And when I saw that 51, I think we're all just like, oh, like I wasn't, we weren't expecting that. So yeah, it was definitely, I mean, we really needed that. Me and my coach did just to finally have a result of like our training is worth it and we're doing the right thing. So yeah, it was just a nice little breakthrough, but no, we were not expecting a 51. Maybe, yeah, like maybe 59, but not a 51, no.
And then even how did you handle the attention? Like again, like you said, your followers blew up. I mean, that was like, I don't know. I know from my perspective, you had a moment online in a sense where, everyone had their eyes on you. Like, how did you handle that attention?
I I try to keep it like a really low profile. I kind of I try to stay out of the spotlight a bit. I'm pretty sure that night I just hopped on COD with my homies. Like it wasn't really anything different, because you can't let that like get to you because then all of a sudden I'm walking around like I'm like I did something. I mean, I had a good race, but I can't use that like I'm a gold medalist or something. So, just sent my thank yous out to the people who had messaged me and yeah, and just kept on going like normal life. You can't let that get to your head. Otherwise, you're not going to last very long.
I feel that. Yeah, it can be very easy to like let things just, like you say, get to your head and you all of a
hmm
sudden you're forgetting about the things that you want to actually achieve and you're just like basking this one moment that isn't what you're looking for.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And so between, 651, like you said, you get to Milrose. I know you get to USA's, you make the final at USA's. Like you didn't make the team. Well, I don't even think there was a team that year in 2023 indoors. Um, yeah, I don't think there was a world team. But then a couple months later, I guess a year later, you get the Tracksmith connection and you get the, sign on
hmm
with Tracksmith. How did that kind of come about? And I wonder, I don't know if that felt like a little more validation and all these things kind of coming together.
Oh, for sure. Honestly, I had nothing to do with it. I remember we woke up, I think it was race day, and my agent Jeff, who had hopped on for a sec earlier, he he had texted me and he was like, "Hey, I just got you hooked up with Tracksmith. If you want to wear their kit, you can. Otherwise, like you can just wear what you're doing. But once this meet's over, then we'll get stuff finalized." And I thought it was cool just because I didn't like running and it just said unattached by my name. I thought, it's not the biggest deal, but it is cool. Like I feel like it is a lot of like athletes' dream to at least have some sort of name under their name. So having Tracksmith, like it made me feel like I'm running for more than just myself. Like I have like a group of people that I'm running with and I have to like represent. So yeah, I really enjoy running for them. And yeah, it just makes me feel like I'm running for a purpose more than just, oh, he's unattached. Like who's this guy? Now it's like, it's Kobe and he's with Tracksmith, and finally getting some um I don't know what the word would be, like acknowledgement. Like someone out there actually saw like I have some talent, so they're actually like willing to help out.
That it's interesting because like the idea I've never heard something I've never heard it put it like that where it's like the idea of having your unattached next to your name is significantly different than having like in your case at least Tracksmith or whether it's like any brand next to your name
Hmm.
like that maybe is a little bit of shift of like I'm running for something or I'm part of like a larger group. That is an interesting way to kind of think about it which is really really dope.
And
Yeah.
that's why I'm excited for the like to get the Team USA gear because then it's like I'm running for my country now. Like
Yeah.
this isn't even like a try. Like this is I'm running for the United States, and that's what I'm really excited for. But yeah, same thing. Like having a purpose. You know.
Yeah. I wonder if kind of again thinking back to college, did you feel a sense like that as well, where you're running for your school, you're running for your teammates, you were representing,
Hmm.
South Dakota State.
Especially my first, at least my first year. I don't remember how it went my sophomore year, but at least the first full freshman year, I couldn't even wear the team stuff because I was a walk-on. So like I was unattached. Like I was training with the team and doing all that, but then I'd go to the meet and I just have to wear like a black Under Armour tank top or something. And I was just like, man, I want that jersey. So then when I finally got it, like, yeah, it's just like I finally get to represent my school. Like they're taking a chance on me. They gave me some scholarship money. So now it's like that pushes me to work harder. And like obviously when you put that jersey on, like you want to be the best person to ever wear that jersey. So that was another one of my goals is just like get all the records, like do like get all the golds that you can and just make sure that they didn't make a mistake on you by choosing you.
So, okay, that makes a lot more sense then, because I was looking up and I didn't see you compete at conferences like early on. And it makes sense that you didn't, it seems like you didn't get a chance to.
Yeah, no, and honestly, there were people that were better than me. So, and I still remember there was this one time I was in a class and they came out with like the conference booklet and it had like all the names of the people who made it, and my name was on there. So I texted my coach. I'm like, "Yeah, I made it," and he was like, "No, that must have been like a typo, because yeah, you did not make the team." I was like, "Oh man." So that was what really fired me up. I was like, "Okay, like that's how we're gonna do this." Like, okay,
Damn,
yeah.
man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I was like,
Like
come on.
like a
Like,
typo. That's like that hurts. That hurts.
yeah, oh yeah, it did hurt. Yeah.
Oh man, oh man. Well, it's really cool to now you get a chance to like be on a team and like you said, representing Team USA soon. But like 2024, you get the opportunity to now represent Tracksmith and you're running, and now things start to really, really I don't know, I guess explode in a sense where now you're getting the chance to go overseas. I think that was the first time that year. Last year was the first time you got to go overseas.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, that I had to get my passport and everything. Yeah, it was very exciting. And yeah, crazy times. Very crazy
Yeah.
times.
So talk about relationship with Kevin. You said after 651 kind of reached out, and then as you go overseas to Europe, you get a chance to really connect, and he really provides support for you.
Oh yeah. So Um, I remember he had texted me and he was like, "Hey, like, if you ever come out to Europe, you just let me know and like you can stay with us." And I was like, "Yeah, cool. Like if I'm ever out in Ireland, yeah, like for sure I'll hit you up." And then the opportunity presents itself, and I was like, "I'm gonna take this man's word on it." So I remember I had called him and I was like, "Hey, um, I'll be going to Europe in like a couple months. Like, do you think I could stay with you?" And he's like, "Of course." So yeah, he let me into his home. Fed me all the time. He took me to all the cool like monuments. And yeah, like he brings me to all my training sessions as well. Like he was a huge component in my overseas training. Otherwise, because I don't have a car out there, and Ireland, like how it goes is there's only like a few tracks like per county, so it's not even a thing I could walk to. So yeah, he brought me there and he would make sure I got a full workout in and a lift in and any connections that I needed, he made for me. And then yeah, so now when I go overseas, like I don't have to worry about getting there too early or like too late or having to worry about going out of pocket to stay in the country because I have another meet in a couple of weeks. Like I can just keep flying back to Dublin and he'll take care of me. So yeah, very very good connection. And now this summer, I made good friends with Christian Taylor. So I'll actually be going out to Austria and doing a training camp out there in May. So that'll be very exciting as well.
Man, that is dope. I mean, number
Hmm.
one, for people are gonna hear this, like make sure you maintain those connections because
Yeah.
this is big. This is big,
Hmm.
right? And then take advantage of those connections when you can, right? Like, the fact that you have a place to stay, when you do travel to Europe, the fact that you're building even more connections, with Christian Taylor out in Austria, that'll be a huge
Hmm.
opportunity.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and now things consistently seem like they're on the up and up, which is really good. I wonder, as you're in Europe, both well, I guess indoors this year was the first time you got on like the gold World Indoor Tour Gold, but last year, you I think you competed at the Stockholm Diamond League. You went to a couple Continental Tour meetings. Like you did a lot
Yeah.
across the board last year. I wonder, like, what did you learn about the experience of being, an athlete competing internationally?
The biggest thing that I've learned is out there, like they really treat you well. Like you go to the hotels and like they treat you like the athlete you are. Like they don't like anything you need, like they help you out with. The crowds are always very good. Like and especially the kids. Like after every race, they're like, hey, can you sign this? Can you sign that? Like people just really love the sport out there. So it's nice to go to a place where they really respect the sport. Because even in like college and some of the meets that I ran, like post collegiate, there's just like there wouldn't be anybody in the stands other than just like parents of the athletes who were there. But then you go to these meets and there's thousands of people there, and it's like the environment is so much better, and like I really love it, and that's why I really like to go out there because like a lot of them out there they live and breathe track and field, so you just get treated better and you get treated like an athlete, and you just feel special.
Yeah, and yeah, it's a different, it feels almost like a different world. And I could imagine
Yeah,
like coming
yeah.
from, you know, the western part of the United States where things are significantly more spread out, but now you're like bopping around to all these different countries and you're almost like feeling the energy everywhere you go at these competitions.
Oh, the energy is yeah, that's a big thing is the energy. It's unreal, especially in Stockholm. Like I remember Mondo was there and he was jumping and the crowd it was just going crazy and I had never heard that for a track meet before. So yeah, that was cool stuff.
That's so dope. That's so dope. And then the second part of that, in terms of like the travel and experiences, like what did you learn about yourself? Again, the first time that you're getting a chance to go overseas, you're competing as an athlete. Like, what did you learn maybe about yourself? If there anything you learned?
That's the question. Well, leaving the States and like you kind of your home states for the first time, you kind of just get thrown into the wild. And yeah, I had kind of just learned that I can like perform in these situations and I can, when I had first went out to Europe, they lost all my bags and like my bus didn't show and everything. And I really learned that when in situations like like I can make do with whatever happens. And a lot of people who just kind of do the same thing every day, they don't really realize like what they're even capable of, I can go to a country I've never been to before and find my way around it and get help around it and maybe even find a way to a different country and not even have to like, I don't have to call mom up and be like, what do I do? Like I need help. You know, it's that is a good question because I actually never really even thought of that much. Yeah, you just learn of like how you're able to handle different situations and because a lot of times like you're in a place and they don't really speak great English, so you have to
Yeah.
find out like how to even communicate with the people. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Nice. I wonder if at this point, if you've gotten a chance to, speak with dad, speak with mom of like, yo, like I'm here. Like I made it, they kind of like made it in a sense. I don't know if you got a chance to talk with them about that.
Yeah, no, they're just super proud. I mean, this was the goal all along to be able to do this, just to be able to do this in general. So yeah, they're just super proud and they kind of just let me do my thing. They try not to like bombard me with text or like, especially during meet days, they just let me do my thing and then afterwards they'll call me. But yeah, they're super proud. And if you ever go on their Facebook pages, you'll see
All
it's just,
plaster.
yeah, it's just post after post after post. So yeah, they're very happy for me. Yeah.
Nice. You mentioned like, they know not to text you during meet days. Like, how are you on, meet weekends and when you're competing? Like, do you tend to be like, all right, I just gotta like lock in and focus, or are you kind of like, oh, like, loose, relax, like engaging in that ways?
Yeah, I usually try to just keep it low key. I've actually learned that maybe I was a little too serious going into meets. Because in the European circuit, I have made a lot of friends that I like continually race like pretty much every meet I go out there. So I found myself having better races when I was like chatting with them in like the pre-meet and in the call
Yeah.
room. When before it's just like I'm just, just sitting here like barefaced. But for the most part, yeah, phone on do not disturb. I don't, no one reaches out to me. I only reach out to like my coach if I like really need something. But yeah, I'm pretty locked in. And then after the meet, then I'll like maybe if I'm in like a cool city or a cool place, then I'll walk around but I'm not one to like, oh, I just landed in Barcelona, like I'm gonna hit the club tonight, I'll do my pre-meet tomorrow. Like, no, no, no. I'm in that hotel room. I'm just chilling. I'm on TikTok, something like that, just keeping it low key.
Yeah, so you weren't partying before Stockholm Diamond League the night before or whatever.
Mm-mm. No, I did go to a nice little like karaoke bar in Poland after I was done with my season with some athletes, and that was a fun time. That those
Nice.
those Polish karaoke bars, they go pretty crazy. But
Nice.
yeah.
Very dope, very dope. So now, kind of circling back to USA's, well, in 2025, again, you've really, like you said, your focus, of course, was trying to make this team. You got a chance to, go to Europe again to compete, your first World Indoor Tour Gold meeting.
Mhm.
And now like you make Team USA. And it's been a long time coming where, you got, I think, seventh place, at 2022, you got sixth place, 2023. I think 2024 last year. I don't even think you made the final. All
I did
right.
not know.
Yeah. I mean, well, circling back to then, like when you don't make the final indoors last year, I wonder what you felt then. Did you feel like, oh crap, like, yeah,
Oh, I
like
was
what's
pissed. Yeah, no, I was not a happy guy, and it's no one's fault other than mine. Like I just didn't execute my race. I can't pin it on anybody other than myself. So I just have to be real with myself and say it wasn't because you weren't fast enough. It's not because you weren't in shape. It's just because you didn't run the race you were supposed to run. So I just need to keep working on that. So you just go back in the lab and you just keep working until like you go to the meet and it finally and I wouldn't even say it went into fruition this time. My start was awful.
I was gonna
I don't know
say?
if
It
you've seen
was
it. It
like
was horrible.
you were
It was
like
awful.
20, I don't know, like 20 meters
Ah,
in. I was like,
that was
yo,
so
you're
bad.
done.
Yeah, well, I did have a bit like I had a little bit of a leg thing, so I didn't even train like 2, 3 weeks before USA's before I finally healed up. So I only had like a week of training after that. So I was like a little rusty, but I mean that's not an excuse. But yeah, no, looking back, I don't even like watching the race because it's just like I just cringe. I'm like, oh, what is that? But yeah, luckily I was able to finish strong. But yeah, so back to the question. Yeah, it was just you just like my coach says you can be mad for about like 2 hours. Then once that 2 hour hits, like you got to find a way to make that motivate you. Like, am I just gonna like moan and groan about it for a week? Like, nah, like that's not what we're here to do. We got to find a way. You got to let everything motivate you.
And I know well, after the race, you post on Instagram and talking about it was a long time coming, your fourth, indoor championships. And the goal was always to make Team USA. And you said each year the result wasn't what you hoped for, but this year was a little bit different. Like you said, even with a bad start, I trusted my training and got silver. So,
Hmm.
like, have things set in the fact that, like, okay, I am about to go to China to put on, like you said, put on Team USA. You're gonna have your name, and it's gonna show Coby Hilton, USA. Like, have things kind of set in for you?
I think once I get all the gear, it will. Because for now, like um especially now that I just went right back into training, I'm mostly in just like training mode. But yeah, once I get all my stuff, then I'll be like, oh man, like we did it, holding up the jersey, like we finally were able to do it. But yeah, like I still am in very high spirits, and the guy that I'm in here training with in Lincoln, I've been able to like go to some of his training sessions and kind of just a lot of the kids want to see the medal. So, I kind of just do that. But yeah, I don't think it'll really set in probably until I'm even in China or like in the flight there. And I'll be like, you're really doing this, because I don't want to get too excited. I don't want to jinx anything. I just want to.
And will this be the first time you're going to Asia, I assume?
Hmm.
Oh
Yeah.
man, how
So I
how's
got
like yeah, how you were getting ready for that?
we're still trying to figure out like how we want to deal with the like the jet lag and like the training. I don't know if we're gonna do like a thing where we start training in China time like next week, which I don't know exactly what the conversion is. I don't want to say something that's totally wrong. I heard like 14 hours ahead of us or something like
It's
that
something
or
I think
behind.
depending on daylight savings, it may be 12, 13, or 14, something
Okay.
something around there. Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so then maybe like a week before we'll try to start training in that. But I'm mostly just worried because I can't sleep on planes and I got a long flight ahead of me. So I got to figure out a way to knock me out
Oh
and be able
man.
to sleep up because I like to get to Europe like 10 days before I race just to like really acclimate. But this time I only got maybe 4 or 5 days,
Oh
which
man.
still should be at least enough time for me to at least get my legs about me. But yeah, this is going to be a learning experience for sure.
Nice. Oh man, that's gonna be oh I'm confident. I'm confident in you. I know that like flights are long. I don't know. You got to get one of those pillows or something to like get some sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man. And then like you said, you had a little bit of a leg thing, but is it like fully healthy now? Like you feeling really
Oh
good?
yeah.
Oh good.
Yeah, no, it's all good. It was just something that came up and um yeah, I wasn't doing the right things to take care of it. I thought it was something else. But then yeah, I went to a doctor out here, Dr. G, shout out, and he fixed me right up. So yeah, it's all good.
Got you, got you.
Hmm.
All right. So one other kind of like two-part question. I'm curious if you do goal setting. Like, have you done goal setting through your career? Have you like kind of started, or like I'm curious your relationship with goal setting.
Yeah, the goals I set, I always stay away from times because
Hmm.
a lot of people they like to be like, "Oh, I'm going to run this year." And then they don't, and then they see it as a failure of a year. I just like to say like I want to like first it was like for USA's it was first goal, just make it to the final. All right, we did that. Second goal, just place. I like to set goals, but I don't want to set a goal to where even if I do well, I'm upset that I didn't reach that goal because I don't want to be upset when I figuratively like could have done a good job. So now, like going into Worlds, it's just like, all right, first goal, make it out of prelim, and then it's, you know, make the semi, make the final. Otherwise, like if I come here and I'm just like, I want to get third place, well, I could get sixth place in the final, and now I see it as a failure, even though it's like, well, you just made a world final. So, so I try to stay away from times and make the goals where they're not where it's still difficult, but it's not unreachable, where I'm going to disappoint myself regardless of what happens.
Yeah, that's a really dope way to go about it. Because, like you said, it like keeps you grounded, but it's also something to reach for and to look forward to. That you can like,
Hmm.
okay, I have to work for this, but like you said, I'm not going to be like extremely disappointed if like things don't go exactly my way. It'll still have that hunger and drive. Nice.
Hmm.
And so, with that, do you kind of like of course, China coming up, World Indoor Championships in the 60. Like, do you focus there and like set goals there, or then do you also kind of have okay after that? I'm looking forward to the outdoor season. Like you have goals set there as well.
Mostly right now, I'm just focused on indoor.
Mm.
Once I kind of get kind of a decent look at how my outdoor is going to look, then I'll start making my goals. Like once I get like a decent
Mhm.
schedule, then it's like, okay, well maybe I'm at a gold meet here. Then I'd be like, okay, big focus is this gold meet.
Yeah.
But for now, it's just worry about how I'm going to do in China, and then I got to go back to Colorado and coach this high school team because I was supposed to start a couple weeks ago. So yeah, so that's my goal right now is to get some kids into the state, state meet. And then once my schedule kind of comes into it, then I'll be able to pinpoint the meets that I really want to do at or like do well at, and then maybe just kind of see. And also like some goals are just like, improve the start, or improve my transition or don't slow down at the end type deal. So once we get it all figured out, then I'll be able to write down some goals.
There you go. There you go. Love that. Love that. Now, last thing, I am curious. You've spoken about your journey, and I don't know. I feel like so many people can definitely resonate with it because of how in general, like track and field is tough for a lot of athletes, especially if you're not one of the top athletes who's like an NCAA champion or someone coming out of college. I wonder, considering what you've gone through, the progress that you've seen, the ups and downs that you've seen, like what are some things that you would tell athletes who might be on the fence of like, maybe I don't know if I want to like, really continue with track, or maybe they're already kind of still unsponsored, they're training, they're competing, but they're like, I'm thinking about quitting. Like, I don't know if you have something you might want to share with some of those folks.
You just got to use that as motivation to be able to try to do that stuff. Because it is very hard and it is very disheartening when you work all the time and you just don't see the results. But I mean, and we saw it in my case, like you keep doing it, like you will get that breakthrough. Like it might be tomorrow, it might be next year, but as long as you have you trust your training and you trust the process, and you have people that also trust the training and the process, like it won't go wrong. But it's just when you start doubting and the self, you can't let those negative thoughts, because once those negative thoughts get in your head, like, it's really hard to get them out. Because this game, it's like 90% mental. You can be the fastest man in the world, and if you're just thinking negative thoughts, like you're probably not going to do well in that race. So you just got to keep positive, keep the good thoughts flowing, keep working hard. Don't let like any negativity like get to you, and it'll come. It'll come.
Nice. I love that. I love that. And again, I know you said that you don't watch the race frequently, but like to your point where it's like you're in race at USA's, that speaks to how mental it is. Well, again,
Hmm.
20 meters in, I was like, yo, you're done. Like you're done.
Me too. Me too.
Like, but like you had to have tapped into, of course you've done the training, you've done the execution, but like you had to have
Hmm.
tapped into something where it's like, nah, I got this,
Yeah, I
even
was
in the
like,
split seconds.
I just knew like this isn't going to be like every other year, like because we were so like we put our whole year of training around like USA's, and usually like and we hadn't done that before, so this is our first year like really like okay, we're going to go to Europe, but we're going to train through those meets so we can
Mm.
peak. And even though I didn't get out how I like to, like we were able to finish finally how like you should when you're like in a good shape. So yeah, I wasn't gonna get fourth. Like I could not.
There you go. Well,
Uh,
the name came up on the board, second place. You're going to China, so it's exciting. I'm like really proud of you, man. Really, really proud of
Thank
you.
you, brother.
Yeah,
Thank
and
you.
excited to see not only what's going to come in the next few weeks in China, but then looking forward. I feel like you're just getting started, so this is exciting,
Thank you,
man.
brother.
Absolutely,
I
absolutely,
appreciate you.
absolutely. Well, Kobe, really appreciate it, and yeah, we'll be looking forward to more to come, man.
Thank you, man. Thank you for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Absolutely appreciate you, man.